Welcome back to DAGryffyn Hobby. My name's Dave. Let's see how things are going on the layout expansion. I've been ignoring the inner loop on the expansion for a little while now. I got a little sidetracked doing my control center and wiring the outer loop. I figured there's no point in wiring the inner loop if it's not even complete. So today I decided it was about time I check out that inner loop and try to get it closer to complete. I have a similar issue with the inner loop that I had with the outer loop when I was doing the lift bridge. I have a section for the inner loop that needs to cross the aisle in another spot, and I need a lift bridge there as well. This one's a lot more narrow than the double track lift bridge that I did before, so I've been trying to use the design from the larger lift bridge to make it work for the smaller one. There were a couple things I really had to do, and the first, most obvious, I guess, was figure out where the track was going to go, because that would determine where the lift bridge would go. Where I wanted to put the track and where the track has ended up, a little bit different. But I also decided to go for simplicity and ease of installation. I let the layout tell me what was going to work. So let's check that out, and I'll show you what I mean. So it's a little bit of a mess here, I know, but I've been working on the layout all day, and I'm at a point now where I'm waiting on parts to show up, and I'm just tired, and I can't keep going. So it is what it is. Initially, I wanted the inner loop to come along kind of where this track is. Exit the loop from the bridge and then swoop closer to the table edge and come across the front. That was making it extremely hard to line up the track with the existing part of the layout to complete the loop. So in order to simplify it, I took all the track up from the edge of the table all the way back to right about where those red Marx cars are sitting. Coming out of the bridge, I believe I have 054, and it really wasn't putting the track where I wanted it. So I removed the last section and I used one of the 096s, which actually brought the track to just about where I needed it to be. It also more closely matches the outer loop in this area where I used the 096 to ease into the turn. So I really like the way that that looks. So I used the 096 there and then just used a straight piece from here to here. And then another 096 to complete the length of track on this table. From that piece of 096, I laid some straight track across the gap here where you now see the bridge and the piece of wood. And I ran that back into the mountain after cutting a large hole in the side of it. I had a general idea of where it was going to go, and I was just kind of hoping that it would work out. The hole ended up a little bigger than I wanted, but I think I still have the foam I pulled out of there, so maybe I can just work it back in. After running the straight piece across the gap, I put another 096 at the end of it, and it actually ended up working out perfectly. I was able to keep the existing track for the inner loop all the way up to the end of this turn right here. I put another straight piece in there, and it lined up almost perfectly with the 096. So without really having to do much adjustment, I was able to complete the loop. So now I'm left with trying to make a lift bridge work similarly to my other one in this space. Once I figured out where the track was going to go, I then had to try to figure out how I was going to make the lift bridge work in this section. And again, it's not coming straight off the table, it's coming at an angle. So I have to adjust the table to match the angle of the track in order to get the supports for the bridge where I want them so that the bridge will function the way I want it to function. What I did was build this small framed out section here, which is at a right angle to the direction the track will go. I then will have to install the supports for the hinges that will allow the bridge to pivot. I'm at this point waiting for the hinges, and then I will be able to figure out exactly where these two supports will go, and then exactly where the hinge will go so that it will end up performing the way I want it to. So I might mount these pieces on the inside face, or I might try to notch it so that it sits flush with the front, depending on where that pivot point ends up, because I really want it to function like the other one where the track will drop down with minimal interference. That left me with a really weird space between this bridge and the Menards bridge. I wanted them to look like it would make sense, so I just started playing with some foam here, and I figured if I could support this bridge and then put the foam around the frame of it so that it looks like maybe a river is coming this way and then turns, I'd be pretty happy with that. I was initially going to frame out a larger section here and do some sort of a water feature, but I think I'm going to just leave it open and leave it up to the imagination, because at this point, if I build any more out, I'll be coming too far out into the aisle. One other point that's complicating matters is that on the older part of the layout, the track is 1.5 inches higher than it is on the new part of the layout. Starting all the way down at the other end by the bridge, where the track comes off the bridge, I started a 2% incline, which comes up to about this spot here, putting the track about 1.25 inches above the table. So I still have some distance to make up from here back to the other part of the layout. I utilized the bridge I'm making to make up that difference. So even though I don't have trains running on it yet, and I don't have the lift bridge done, I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made today. I'm definitely a lot closer to trains running on the inner loop than I was this morning. I want to show you this makeshift tool I made while trying to figure out the bridge. I needed to be able to check different track lengths. So I took 2 long sections of track and zip tied them together on the outer rails, enabling me to slide in and out, changing the overall length. And that really was extremely helpful. So if you're working on something and you're trying to find a length of track that will work, try zip tying 2 together, and then you've got a telescoping piece of track. And it was fantastic. I hope I remember this the next time I'm trying to do something like this. Since I couldn't get the inner loop to the edge of the table, I can set up at least a fake siding, because I still don't want any switches. And I can run it down the front of the table and install some industries. While the idea of a elevation change kind of bothers me, I don't want it messing with the ease of running. Visually, I do think it's very interesting and definitely adds some visual excitement to the way that trains run. Progress is being made on the expansion. Sure, the inner track isn't functional right now, and the layout and the room are a complete disaster, but progress is being made. So I have to remind myself that it won't always be like this, and that I will get to a point where trains will be running, all this stuff will be away, and it's going to look fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on DAGryffyn Hobby.